Well, some voters say they have serious concerns over intimidation when they cast their ballot. In places like Maricopa County, Arizona, since early voting, there have been several reports of so-called armed vigilantes watching ballot drop boxes. And now law enforcement is taking extra precautions to make sure voters can drop off their ballots safely. I want to bring in former CIA officer and FBI Special Agent Tracy Walder to take a deeper dive into voter intimidation and violent extremism as well heading into the midterms. It's great to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
So the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the National Counterterrorism Center, also the U.S. Capitol Police, all warning that following the midterms, perceptions of election fraud could cause violence against candidates running for public office, elected officials, election workers, political rallies, political party representatives. The list goes on, right? Have you ever dealt with something like this before, this kind of uptick in political extremism? And if not, why do you think it's happening now?
I think that's an excellent question, Natasha. What's so interesting about that is I actually have dealt with that before, but the way that I've dealt with it is in the context of actually foreign elections. When I worked at the CIA, there was a lot of unrest going on in certain countries at the time, and we were monitoring sort of international terroristic type activities that could come as a result of whatever the outcome of those elections were. And so what I find fascinating is actually the mention of the National Counterterrorism Center in this. And so what that's telling me is that they're sort of shifting in how they are monitoring folks and monitoring threats to either voting locations or the outcome of these elections. And I think that that's sort of an interesting switch. And it's showing me that they're acknowledging that there could be terroristic threats as a result of this.
And we know in terms of the situation going on in Arizona right now, it did come down. A federal judge said that these armed vigilantes can be there technically as long as they are 75 feet away from the drop boxes. There is nothing actually illegal about filming or monitoring these sites. At what point does that become intimidating or just plain bad for our democracy?
That's interesting. So I guess to just provide an anecdote to that, yes, 75 feet away from the polls is what Arizona requires. And Arizona is an open carry state, so they're not doing anything illegal by having weapons out in the open. But, just to give everyone a little bit of food for thought, I went and voted actually today in my city, and I brought my 7-year-old with me. We did not have anyone, with weapons near our polls. However, if we did, that would give me serious pause about taking my daughter with me to the polls, and might create a situation in which I couldn't necessarily get to the poll because I would be uncomfortable bringing her there. And, I think that this just raises a whole host of questions. Watching someone with a weapon can be uncomfortable for a lot of people, and having a camera in your face can be uncomfortable for a lot of people. And I think what this judge is saying is that this may be uncomfortable, however, this isn't illegal. But I would argue that the uncomfortableness that this creates is really what could keep people away from the polls.
As a former FBI agent, how do you handle ballot watchers?
They have a right to be there, whether we like them there or not. They have the right to be there. It is a free country. And I think really there does need to be somewhat of a law enforcement present, not at every ballot location, but at ones where perhaps people do make reports of feeling uncomfortable. And if people do feel uncomfortable, they should make those reports, because law enforcement can't respond to them unless they know that something is happening there. And I think that's really all you can do. You can't arrest someone in an open carry state for doing that. And you also can arrest someone for filming someone at the polls.
I certainly appreciate your time. Former CIA officer and FBI Special Agent Tracy Walder, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.